What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the Oakland Raiders Madden 20 franchise mode, the offseason. This is going to be our first offseason, obviously, with the team. I'm hoping for future offseasons to maybe do a live stream, and then I could re-upload the live stream or clip it up and put it on YouTube. I do feel like a live offseason, it's kind of fun. It's a good way to interact with all you guys, but just wasn't quite ready. Things did not line up the way I wanted them to do this offseason as part of a live stream. So as far as team building, I took a couple comments from the last video's comment section, which I asked you guys, like, who do you want me to go for in the draft? What were you thinking about for free agents? And, other than that, I'm going to try and find the best plan, the best direction to take this franchise as we desperately, based upon the at least offensive success of this team. We had some standout players on the defensive side of the ball. Garyon Conley leading the league in interceptions. Emergence of Mo Hurst, Clelin Ferrell, really good. But we need to do better. I think we need to start to look at strength in the offensive line and just adding competitive pieces to the defensive side of the ball. Maybe depth at running back. But that's to get put on the back burner. Because I don't know if you guys heard, but as we broke a record was Mr. Antonio Brown. If you don't know, if you're living on a rock, if you just somehow missed the last episode, Antonio Brown finished second all-time in single-season receiving yards at 1,920. Just a game behind a Calvin Johnson, Megatron. And you'd figure maybe if we didn't have Tyree Jackson, a UDFA quarterback, throwing to him for 5 games, might have broke that record, even though he did have some stellar performances with Tyree Jackson in at quarterback. But look at that receiving touchdowns, shattering the 23 touchdowns in a single season mark set by Randy Moss, Tom Brady, and the New England Patriots in 2007. Antonio Brown got 25 here in 2019. And here I thought, maybe this offseason he'd want to put in the extra work with Derek Carr and try to get more than that. Try to beat 25. Just use that as the pace car. The tone has been set. 25, and we didn't make the playoffs. Next year, we're only going to be bigger, better, stronger, faster. Let's get 30. No, this happens. So I'm pretty confused. Trying to run and do everything for this Raiders, try to get our offseason ready. I have to deal with this from Antonio Brown. Now we're in Vegas. We're moving to Vegas. Let's let a huge fan of the YouTube C4 channel, a Las Vegas resident, try to explain it a little bit better than I can, because I'm going to be completely honest with you. What is going on?
Hey, Twitter world, yours truly. Well, I see where Antonio Brown is threatening to quit if they force him to wear this new mandated helmet. The man is making $50 million over the next 3 years. Now, I live in Las Vegas. I would love to see Antonio Brown play. I think he's one of the greatest receivers that has ever played football. But if you're telling me he's willing to give up that kind of money because of the style of the helmet, I call BS. I'm just saying. Take care.
Okay, thanks, Juice. So now that we have some clarity about Antonio Brown, that's only the beginning of the offseason. What's going to happen once we, what if we draft a wide receiver to come in and try to shore up that room, add some more competition? What if we don't make the right free agency signings? Now we pretty much have to walk on pins and needles because we don't know what is going on with Antonio Brown. We thought, the perception was he was a diva. That's why he got moved on from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe a real cancerous relationship with Ben Roethlisberger. Maybe Antonio Brown was locker room cancer, and he came for us as the Raiders. We went through a full season, a full 16-game season without an issue with Antonio Brown, breaking records, and now we're starting to get the ugly side. Deflated ego. I don't know. I do not know what is next for the Antonio Brown saga. I hope there's no saga. I hope literally he smartens up and we could just go, hey, let's break more records next season as we try to dominate the AFC West and make the playoffs. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Now let's get all our ducks in a row and start looking at some free agents. So we will start with the offense here in free agency. At quarterback, pretty good right now to rock and roll with Derek Carr. I think if he didn't suffer that injury, he would have got over 40 touchdowns. So looking at that 6-year, $128 million contract, I think he did enough this year to buy him one more season to prove. I think I don't want to necessarily put the restriction that he has to make the playoffs for us to think about keeping him for a long term. But he bought himself at least another year. We got Tyree Jackson to try and grow and develop. Looking at running backs, there's, I want to try to get scheme fits, guys that could potentially complement Josh Jacobs. We have Rashard for more of the speedier, shiftier option. So finding guys that fit our scheme. Jordan Howard is here, but there's already a pretty competitive bid there from the Buffalo Bills. And I don't really want to spend a lot of money because Josh Jacobs, being a first-round pick, is a fairly expensive running back. But we do know the availability concerns. You have Derrick Henry here. No bids on him, but he wants $35 million. 12, almost $13 million guaranteed. That is very expensive for an 84 overall player that has been very inconsistent in his time with the Tennessee Titans. And then Kareem Hunt. I think in a perfect world, I would look at bringing in Kareem Hunt. He got good speed, great power, 98 carry, 94 break tackle. But then he probably would stunt all of the development and growth that we could get if maybe Josh Jacobs' injuries, it's only a one-year issue. Next year, he's going to be playing a full 16 games. He's going to break out. Because let's be honest, if he would have played the full 16 this year, he would have went over 1,000 yards. And I think he was a runner-up for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He would have got Offensive Rookie of the Year. So bringing a guy like Kareem Hunt, I think will stunt that development. He's injured, torn pectoral, out for 9 weeks. And above all, we're in Las Vegas. And I think a guy like Kareem Hunt, who has had the off-field issues, I don't think it's a great landing spot. Now, could that have some interesting plot twists? Potentially. But I'm not outright going to put myself in obvious negative scenarios. And I think bringing a guy like Kareem Hunt to Las Vegas, given everything else with the, we want to grow and try to develop Josh Jacobs. He has an injury. I think right now the draft is going to be our best available avenue to bringing in someone to that backfield. Because, if healthy, Josh Jacobs and Jalen Rashard, that is a nice backfield. Both those guys have star devs. Both are on the right side of 30. So we'll just avoid that for now. We have our Pro Bowl fullback here, Chris Warren, got a star dev. So we're Gucci there. Looking at wide receiver, Antonio Brown is phenomenal, even though he regressed somehow. That's stupid. If he ever plays another down, we need to be a little conscious about that. Tyrell Williams, superstar. It's 28. It's still a good age. We got Hunter Renfrow. We extended J.J. Nelson. So we don't really need much at wide receiver. I was kind of looking maybe through the weeds if there's someone we could look at potentially adding in here that could be a great fit for our team. I'm looking at maybe someone like Robert Foster, 26, deep threat style player. More so what I'm thinking is a slot. I think a slot wide receiver could come in and just add depth. We had an injury with Hunter Renfrow last season. We don't have a lot of slot depth beyond that. And of course, when you look through some of the value picks, there's nothing. Trent Taylor's there, but I feel like a guy like Trent Taylor's only going to kind of hinder the development of a Hunter Renfrow because they're so close at this point in their career. And even if you go down a little bit more, there's just not a lot there when it comes to building some squad depth. I will say right now, Shelton Gibson, former Philadelphia Eagle, 93 speed, brings 82 catching. He could be a nice little flyer if we give him. Definitely not paying him over $1 million. Tell you that for sure. You'll take like almost a minimum contract to come in for a 1-year deal. I think Gibson could bring some nice value to our wide receiver room, but that is a really, really low ball offer. So fingers crossed that maybe something can come from that. I will do more of a deep dive through some of these wide receivers. I don't want to just hold you guys up here as I look through, but I don't know. I feel like we're probably pretty good with our wide receiver room right now. So when you go to tight ends, though, we let Luke Wilson walk. We got Moreau, who we want to be, our guy, the guy. He's pretty much a receiver, even though he is kind of well balanced. So I feel like we should bring in a second tight end. But looking at who's available, an outright blocker like Chris Manhertz is probably the best compliment. Having come out there for that, for the blocking. Look at that, 73 pass block. You got some good impact blocking. All of his other blocking stats are in the 60s. One of the best blocking tight ends in the league. So I feel like that is the best potential compliment. So if we can get this offer under $1 million cap hit, we'll send him 2-year, $2 million. 2-year, $2 million from Manhertz. Nice little compliment to fill out to the room. Again, not a overwhelming offer, but we're just trying to fill out depth. And if you want a job, you want to play in Las Vegas, there's unfortunately for us no real big name players that would probably be lured by the appeal of playing in Las Vegas. Look at the offensive line. There's no upgrade over Colton Miller, so we're going to rock and roll with him for another year of development. At left guard, though, we have Postage, Joe Thuney. I think we're probably going to make him our big target this offseason. Come from the Patriots. It seemed to work not great with Trenton Brown at right tackle, but I think a guy in the inside like Thuney, or at center in Cody Whitehair, who does have some guard experience. You could probably swing him out to guard if we really wanted to. But I think Joe Thuney should be our big get. Let's see if we offer just what the fair deal is. Where's that going to put us in points? We're 9th. That is fairly low. We have a decent amount of salary cap. So I think we'll go to 9.5 and we'll make this 3.75. Let's make that 3.75. So that's going to knock him up to a 3-year, $39 million deal for a star dev guard. That gives us the first overall bid. I'm not going to bid anymore. If we miss out, we're going to have to build through the draft on the offensive line, at least in the interior, because there's not much upgrades anywhere else on the offensive side of the ball. And on the defensive side of the ball, I have identified a couple targets. None of them I'm not, like I said, we're not trying to swoop in and get every big name free. It's just not a reality. Even with the move to Vegas, while that should help bring in some big name free agents, definitely not in the first year. There's probably a lot of players and their agents wanting to take a wait and see approach. So it's not like we can just say, oh, we play in Vegas, come play with our, who wants to come? Everyone wants to play in Vegas. It's going to be awesome. But people are taking the wait and see approach this offseason. So we're going to have to be not necessarily frugal, but we're going to have to try to find some value. So you look at inside here. I love Timmy Jernigan, but the Bucks bid's a little too much out of our price range. So I'm going down here a little bit. I'm gonna take a gander at Poona Ford, UDFA, former Seattle Seahawks, scheme fit, 72 overall. I feel like a 2-year deal. Maybe give him something like that. 2-year, $4.3 million to come in, add some youth to the inside. I mean, Hankins is 28. Even though he does have a star dev, didn't develop much. Mo Hurst is emerging star. But beyond Mo Hurst, you got PJ Hall, and then there's just not a lot there inside. So I think a guy like Poona Ford can come in and maybe do enough to fend off, say, Ronald Ollie from making the final roster spot. Beyond that, I mean, you could argue at defensive end, Yannick Ngakoue, but we've got reports that his agent doesn't want to accept any bids from the Raiders. He has no intentions of going to Las Vegas at this time. Wants to go to a contender right away like the Colts, so we kind of had to go, okay. I mean, we got some young guys there, Arden Keen, Max Crosby. We definitely want to add some competition, but knowing we got kind of phased out from the top target, I'm looking a little bit elsewhere. I'm going to look at outside linebacker. I'm going to go to Carl Nassib. He had some big-time play at defensive end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then they moved to a 3-4. He kind of got outcasted a little bit as an outside linebacker. But you look at the stats, sliding him back to D-end, 87 acceleration, 85 pursuit, 80 power, 78 block shed, 84 play rec, 86 awareness. He's a smart player. And look at the traits. He has all the traits you want. High motor, strip ball, bull rush, spin, swim. So I think low-key, he's going to be a guy that can come in, give him maybe a 2-year deal, 2-year, 12.5. Where does that put us at for the bid? 81 points. He's not really going to challenge Whitehead. I mean, debatably, we could use an upgrade over to here Whitehead, but I really do think we're going to focus at linebacker during the draft because there's just not a lot of guys that are jumping out the board. Camus, former of the Eagles, could be an intriguing option, but the bid, $17 million from the Dallas Cowboys, is a little too rich for my blood, even though he looks like a tremendous user, 89 speed, 91 acceleration. Maybe give the incentive to play you and use your linebackers a little bit, but we're more so going to look at Nassib, sign him as an outside linebacker, reclassify him as a least competition for that right defensive end spot with Arden Key and Max Crosby. So then going to the inside, we definitely need some linebackers here. Shazier's available. That is the gamble. That is a price that clearly you can see the Pittsburgh Steelers having the leading bid, that they're gambling that he can step on the football field and play. We're not really going to make that gamble. Miles Jack is very intriguing. That is a lot of money for a linebacker that's not really a scheme fit for us. So, and I just feel like there's some rapport from these Jacksonville Jaguar free agents. They must share the same agent. They do not want to move to Las Vegas this season. So we have to go down and look at some secondary options. And for me, it's between two players on the Kansas City Chiefs. We have Reggie Ragland, no bids on him. Maybe not going back to Alabama. The last Alabama linebacker that the Raiders had didn't work out quite well using Psycho, Rolando McClain. But he's 26, 75. Looking at his base stats, looks pretty good. 82 speed. Got 83 block shed, 88 hit power. He's an enforcer across the middle. But you look at Darren Lee, he's a year younger. He's a scheme fit. He has a star dev. I feel like the Colts are bidding on a lot of free agents. They have a lot of money, but I feel like this could be worth the investment. And if we can't get him, I feel like we can probably go back to Reggie Ragland and get him on day 2 of free agency in case all doesn't work out. But we're going to come in with the top bid for Darren Lee. That'd be a great get for our defense. I mean, we probably could bring in both if we really wanted to, but I'd rather wait and see with Darren Lee, and then if not, we can use Ragland as our secondary option. So then finishing up in the secondary, our safeties are on point, but we could add more depth at corner. Garyon Conley is really the only starter that we do have, and there's just not a lot of scheme fits. We run that zone, so I'm looking at guys that are fairly close to being zone as their main scheme, guys that aren't going to require a lot. And first up, easy Florida Gator bias, Vernon Hargreaves III, kind of got the short end of the stick with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They weren't able to grow and develop him, but I think he could be a very interesting player for us. So we're going to come in, honestly, and we'll give him a 2-year deal. A 2-year deal to try to turn around, very close to being a scheme fit. If he has a good camp, he could emerge as another starter. From college, he was outstanding for the Florida Gators. And I was looking through this. I mean, there's some Eagles. I would like to Jalen Mills, maybe get him moving to safety for once. Cravon LeBlanc, I really was going to bring him in. He's almost a scheme fit, but unfortunately, I was a little bit spooked from that speed. 87 speed, 89 acceleration. While he's a tremendous player for my Philadelphia Eagles, just not a scheme fit, not a lot of speed. Artie Burns could be a nice reclamation project. He started out great with the Pittsburgh Steelers, kind of simmered off just a little bit, but he is, 3 points off being a scheme fit. That's a lot of development to try to get him where I like. Mike Ford could be a nice little option here, 74 from the Lions, but again, kind of far off. Not a great scheme fit for our secondary. Grant Haley's a nice young option that's still there. Tease Tabor, that's what I wanted to show you. I just go let's get all the Gators that were really good in college and didn't quite put it all together in the NFL. But we'll just get Vernon Hargreaves. So that is, I think, for at least the opening period, all that I want to try to spend. Getting priced out and phased out from the agents, from the players, from the Jags, and Ngakoue Miles Jack was annoying. Making a conscientious decision on Kareem Hunt. I mean, Eric Ebron, we didn't even talk about him. I really do think we can develop Moreau. We don't want to just keep spending for the sake of spending. We don't have a whole lot of money. So I feel like we could just go low-key. Make our 2 big targets. Joe Thuney on the offensive line. That's a huge upgrade at left guard. And we have a competitive offer. Come on, clearly. You want to go to Las Vegas or you want to go to Washington? Darren Lee would be a huge get for our defense. And then we're just the initial bids here on everybody else. Let's see, after the first wave of free agency, if we can lock down a lot of these major targets. Over the first wave, our big primary target in Joe Thuney declined our offer. Asshole. But we did get Poona Ford, Vernon Hargreaves, and Darren Lee. So we got, out of our 2 big targets, going 50% is not that bad. And on the second window, we got Manhurts, so we got our complement. We got our blocking tight end, and unfortunately, Carl Nassib, who actually kind of really wanted, declined our offer. Maybe he likes the scheme. Maybe he likes playing outside linebacker. Didn't want to move to defensive end. As free agency comes to a close, let's kind of see where the big names landed. Kareem Hunt, now member of the Baltimore Ravens. Ebron went to the Panthers. Big replacement for them to get over Greg Olsen. Ngakoue to the Colts. Fuller to the Pats. Thuney rejected our big money. Go to the Seahawks, man. It's going to be so hard trying to protect for Russell Wilson with all that scrambling. Eric Berry went to the Dolphins. Aguilar to the Titans. Miles Jack to the Broncos. That's going to be an annoying matchup. Derrick Henry to the Patriots. Drew Brees is the new quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. That's a smart decision, man. If you're struggling with the development of Josh Allen, bring in Drew Brees for a year. Get Allen to develop underneath that. Shazier, we can finally return to the field, is back with the Steelers. Darby to the Seahawks. Eckler to the Bucks. There's some big names here. Howard to the Bills. Spending money like crazy out here right now, man. Jesus. That's pretty much it for the big names. So, yeah, Bills, Ravens look like they're spending lots of money. Okay. Teams not going the draft route. They want to spend big bucks in free agency. Okay. We're going to be frugal, and we're going to show at the end of the day, at the end of next season, all these teams spending big money. The Seahawks, the Ravens. You ain't going to be in the playoffs like the Raiders are going to be. Draft day. We will sim the first couple picks. The first 5 picks are usually fairly interesting. Let's see where the board lands, and then we'll get to where we select. So first pick is the Miami Dolphins, where they select at number 1, Justin Herbert, quarterback from Oregon. Did they get their franchise guy? I don't know. I'm just glad that the sim actually had them take a QB. At pick 2, the Seattle Seahawks select. Oh, we skipped it. Because I'm an idiot. Who cares what they selected, I guess. We got back-to-back picks, 14, 15. Let's do this. So here we pick at 14, the Las Vegas Raiders, and the board couldn't have been any more annoying. We got 2 quarterbacks, and Tua and Fromm still staring us in the face. I know we're not getting a QB, but it's still there. I said we could surprise and go running back early. I don't know if I want to go this early. The top running backs are still there in ETN and DeAndre Swift. I just think, what does that say about Josh Jacobs? Do we just, I don't know, man. I don't feel like it's a smart decision. CeeDee Lamb still being there. He's on our short list. But we got to stick with our board, man. We got to stick with our board. Unfortunately for our board, there wasn't many first-round pure talents that, that I really, tickled my fancy, to be honest with you. But I know for a fact that there is one universal at a position of need that we are going to make, and that is C.J. Henderson, in my opinion, the second best corner in the draft. Maybe even the best corner. Will hopefully be the best one. The corner out of Florida. He's a scheme fit, 6'1", 192, 4.42 in the 40-yard dash. Zone cover corner. He's going to be our first selection in the draft. And he comes out to be a 72 normal, not normal, hidden dev. He's number 0 in true talent. That's awesome to see. Thanks for helping him out, game. But he comes in 91 speed, 92 acceleration, 77 zone, 74 presses. Tackling's not too bad. That catching's a little alarming. Only 56 catching. But that's a big playmaker right there. He's a guy that's going to be able to compete along with Trayvon Mullen and Vernon Hargraves for snaps as a rookie to try and find a suitable partner for Garyon Conley in our secondary. And another reason why we make that selection at corner is because, the proof wasn't in the pudding. Jalen Ramsey made that tweet saying that he would like to, if he can't get a deal with Jacksonville, maybe look at the Raiders, especially Las Vegas. This was the only offer that I got that got all green. And it was our first round pick, LaMarcus Joyner and John Hankins at defensive tackle. It would sting getting rid of Joyner too. He's one of our best tacklers last season, but it just wasn't going to work. Like, they wanted a tackle. I threw in, swapped out Hankins for Trent Brown at right tackle. That was another one of their positions in need. This was the most trade interest that we were able to get. And, we're not going to sink our team. We're going to draft a young playmaker like C.J. Henderson, and hopefully he can become the next Florida area prospect that turns into a Jalen Ramsey caliber player. And I think ultimately, with most of the talent that we like in this draft being day 2-ish, because we don't have a second round pick, our next pick's not to the third round, we need cover for Antonio Brown. He is, we're not going to call him a nutcase, but, he's a nutcase. There are 4 first-round legit grade wide receivers. Unfortunately, we missed out on Jerry Jeudy. He wasn't even available at the last pick, clearly, because we picked last. So there really is 2 targets that I think make sense. First up, we have T. Higgins, who has the A catching. That's the only skill that we scouted. 4.50 at 6'4", 212. Or we look at someone like CeeDee Lamb, who's going to be able to stretch the defense. Good size, 6'1", 4.40, good 3-cone, good 20-yard. I feel like with T. Higgins, though, he's too similar to Tyrell Williams in the fact that, just the long, rangy guy that does have some okay speed. So I think ultimately, we're going to have to find a way to get all 3 of them on the field. CeeDee Lamb's the pick because it's not only is it a dynamic playmaker, we don't have to worry about losing dev traits. So it's not like if we can't find a way to get him involved early on, we're going to worry about him regressing. And it gives us the ultimate cover for Antonio Brown in case he misses time or anything crazy like that. So with that being said, we're going to select the very explosive playmaker, as good, maybe even better than Hollywood Brown, who was a first-round pick a year ago to the Baltimore Ravens. CeeDee Lamb from Oklahoma, 75 overall, hidden dev trait, deep threat. Comes in with 93 speed, 94 acceleration, 80 catching, 83 release, 78 deep route running, 86 spectacular catch, and some pretty good athletic attributes there as well. Huge pick. 2 hidden dev trait playmakers in the first round. You cannot ask for a better start to a draft than that. From that, we got offense, defense. We got some good balance. Our draft board, we still got some interesting targets. We need a guard. Absolutely need a guard at left. I like John Runyon. There's some bias there. His dad's one of my favorite Eagles of all time. He actually looks pretty good as a prospect. The skills look great. You pretty much have to ignore the talent because that's bugged right now. But 35 reps on the bench press. And he's only 7th round, so he might be able to sit and wait. I really do like Eno Benjamin as well as a running back to add to the backfield. But he is a 4th round, mid-4th round. That's about where we're picking. So I'm kind of hoping we can maybe get him on the back swing of things. And then when you look at the offensive line, look, there's still some more guards here. Ben Cleveland, Navon Donaldson. But they're both 4th round. And I feel like between Cleveland, Donaldson, Eno Benjamin, or just straight up waiting for John Runyon, we can address some of those other positions on the offensive side of the ball. So flipping the defensive side of the ball, there's one guy that maybe my little bit of bias really wants because he's Canadian. He's arguably maybe the most talented Canadian that we've seen in quite some time, and his combine was insane. Neville Gallimore. Look at anything. Google him. Only thing that comes up is how athletic of a freak he is. And look at that combine. At 6'2", 330, 508, almost a sub 5. Look at that. First invert, first in broad jump, 42 reps on the bench press. He's the Canadian nightmare. I think it's just far too much value for us to pass on. 68, a third hidden dev trade. I know it's my draft class. No idea. I knew CJ Henderson would have one. I knew the first round picks would have one because obviously I know they were good. No idea Nevin Gallimore had this. 94 strength. He looks like a monster, man. An absolute monster. And, you know, almost like for what we already have on that defensive line in PJ Hall. But maybe Gallimore, unlike Hall, can make the most of his opportunities and stick on the defense. Plus, it helps. He's a scheme fit. Pick one after another yet again. Come on, C4. Know your draft board. So it's really, for me, down to 3 guys. Ben Cleveland, Navon Donaldson. Both their skills look pretty good. Donaldson, 40 reps on the bench press. Ben Cleveland, 40 reps on the bench press. Again, there's a gamble that they could still be available. I'm going by position scarcity. I do want to bring in scarcity or scarcity. But I do want to bring in a running back. I like Tavian Feaster, the former Clemson running back, transferred to South Carolina. He's UDFA, but I think Ito Benjamin fits kind of what I really want to run here. The fact that he also has an A- carrying, which is good, and 4.46, got some juice to him. I feel like he could come in, be our third running back, and cover in case Josh Jacobs goes down. So he is going to be our selection here out of Arizona State, and he's a 71 normal. Again, these draft classes have been scaled to Madden 20, the exact same ratings. Like anything above a 65 is a great pick. So I'm cloud 9 here with Eno Benjamin. I mean, tremendous running back, 91 speed, 91 acceleration, 82 carry, 81 ball carry. The trucking and stiff iron is not great. He's more so going to be an elusive runner. What's his catching? Only 61, so he has a role. You know, Jalen Richard's going to be our receiving back. Josh Jacobs can be our power back, and a guy like Eno Benjamin can be our change of pace guy. Coming around in the 4th round, a little annoyed. Literally every 4th round prospect that we wanted, especially on the offensive line, is gone. So, I mean, looking at depth, Lavert Hill, 3rd round corner scheme fit. We scouted him, but we have 9 corners on the roster. So that's not really going to make a lot of sense. I do like Alton Robinson here out of Syracuse at defensive end, but we can still wait another round. So in terms of value, Aaron Fuller and Jalen Reagor, if we didn't have, you know, already drafted a wide receiver and have 7 on the roster, I really like Reagor. 4.39 speed, B catching, I can work with that. Aaron Fuller is a dynamic player. But I feel like we're going to gamble. We're going to wait on John Runyon. Maybe we'll overdraft him, get him in the 6th round or something like that. 35 reps on the bench press. So I think just best pick. We only have 2 tight ends on the roster. Someone like Jacob Breeland. He's a scheme fit from Oregon. B catching right off the bat. 5th best 40-yard dash. So he's a good athlete. It just makes sense to fill another depth chart. So we're going to select Jacob Breeland, tight end out of Oregon. He's a 64 overall player. So run point below kind of where we want our guys to target in at. But he's a solid player. Here in the 5th round, I like Alton. It's between Alton Robinson and John Runyon. I feel like 6th round, late 6, he still could be available for us in the 6th round. If not, I kind of like Julian Akwara from Notre Dame to convert to a defensive end. So we really have 2 potential options who should be available in the next round to be an edge rusher. So I think John Runyon, he's the only interior lineman that I really liked. And we definitely need, at worst, competition for one of our guard spots. So we're going to select John Runyon from the illustrious Runyon family out of Michigan here. And he is 63 with a hidden dev trait. That is 4 hidden dev traits. Now, the 63 rating is not really that good. That's below what we want for our goal. The 89 strength impact blocking is fine. But he has a dev trait. We can work with that. Scheme fit, dev trait. Okay. 6th round, I mean, we still have a 2nd round prospect, Antoine Brooks, who's like a money backer, kind of, you know, he could be covered for Abram. If he's still there in the 7th round, I will take him. But Akwara, I want to use him as a defensive end. He will be our selection here. He comes out 63, still a good pick. No one below the 50s. You know, that's all right. Good athlete, solid strength. We can work with that. Pretty much anyone's guess here in the 7th round who's going to be okay. I mean, we need depth on the O-line, that's for sure. We only have 1 guard, 1 left guard, 1 left tackle, 1 center on the roster. So we could flip over a guard to fill out that. So we either need a tackle or a center. So we'll look at Matt Hennessy here. He actually has pretty good stats. 31 reps, 3rd for the bench press, 3rd in the broad jump. Fairly athletic center from Temple. Temple tough. Can't go bad with a Temple pick. And he's a 60. Thank you. Even though he's not a scheme fail, that means we finished our first draft with the Raiders with no picks in the 50s. That is a big win. So So I'd like to recap by introducing you our 2020 draft class for the Raiders. 2 first-round picks, both hits. C.J. Henderson comes in, hidden Ev trait, scheme fit at corner. We got CeeDee Lamb, who is going to be a big-time playmaker. Maybe as good of cover you could have in case things don't go well with Antonio Brown. We got the Canadian Nightmare Neville Gallimore, 68, another hidden dev trait. Eno Benjamin in the 3rd round, 70. He's already taken a confidence hit because he knows where he's probably going to be paired on the depth chart. But a 71 base overall. 4th round, we got Breland, 64. 5th round, we add a Runyon to the line here, 63 overall. So a little bit below where we want for a base overall, but another hidden dev trait player he should develop fairly quickly. We got Akwara here from Notre Dame. I'm actually going to do the conversion because we got him to be a defensive end. I want more competition for that right end spot, especially because we missed out on Carl Nassib in free agency. So let's see what he goes. He goes from, what was he, 63? Did you change? 66! 3-point upgrade. I will take that. And then we finished Matt Hennessy, center out of Temple, being a 60 overall. So because I kind of messed it up, I wanted to go pick by pick, and then I was just an idiot. Let's look at how the draft actually came to be. So Justin Herbert going 1st overall to the Miami Dolphins, then Chase Young, Grant Delpit, Andrew Thomas, Jerry Jeudy, Derek Brown, Dylan Moses, AJ Apenza, Raekwon Davis, Tyler Bidash, Isaiah Simmons, Trey Adams, Gross Matos, and then we had our double picks there. I guess beyond that, let's see where Tua Tagovailoa went. DeAndre Swift. That is an insane draft, by the way, for the Dolphins. Just getting that much. Is Bengal Designs drafting for them over here? Bengal getting Justin Herbert, getting DeAndre Swift. Bengal out here. Is he a draft king now? Jonathan Taylor, pretty good pick there from the Jags. ETN. I mean, that's just ridiculous talent there still available. I don't know, Jonathan Taylor and Leonard Fournette's going to work out in that backfield. Anyways, I want to see where Tua went. It's pretty much the only other big name pick. Khalil Hudson. I was very close to selecting him. He's a 73 hidden dev. Getting him to kind of, I'm not going to lie, I was straight up going to go Abram and Hudson as my 2 outside linebackers, which, would have been interesting, but the draft board didn't come out that way. But Tua went to the 3rd round, and he went to the Seahawks. So Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the man that is going to have to grow and develop behind Russell Wilson, the potential successor for Russell Wilson. We have seen Russell Wilson from time to time again get to the free agency wire, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Jake Fromm, 67 overall, going to the Vikings, cover for Kirk Cousins. A lot of quarterbacks here going in the 3rd round. And now, of course, because I'm previewing all this, I'm going to have to change these overalls just a little bit so you guys for the rebuilds get a little bit surprised. Jordan Love going to, what are the Bills doing? You have Josh Allen, you brought in Drew Brees, now you bring in Jordan Love in the 3rd round. Madden AI. So, but there you go. There's kind of how the rest of the National Football League goes. I'm more so keeping my eyes on my own work, and I believe they call it roster bait. I'm gonna draft bait to this very, very good draft that we had. So let's pop out of here, get the next season all ready to go, and we'll wrap up the episode. And here we are getting ready to kick off the 2020 season with the preseason. We got the Packers, Steelers, Ravens, and Giants. That, however, will be the next episode. I feel like I've held you guys up here long enough on this beautiful Sunday. And to make the next episode, so it's not just, it's just preseason, I think that next episode will also be when I unveil what sliders I'm going to be using, my XP sliders. So you guys get a little bit out of that, get some, generally the sliders that I'm using in this are also the sliders that I use in my rebuilds. XP sliders are, tinkered just a little bit, but I feel like that's a little bit added bonus that you can get in the next episode, which hopefully will be coming out, maybe because it's the preseason, maybe tomorrow. I might have double back-to-back uploads Sunday, Monday. If not, we'll catch you back here on Tuesday. So I hope you guys did enjoy the offseason. Welcome. Actually, let's go with I hate that menu, to be completely honest with you. Welcomed a bunch of new faces to our squad. For I guess the first biggest one is what is going on with Antonio Brown. We will have to find that out. But beyond that, we welcome Eno Benjamin. We got a new Raider. Once a Raider, always a Raider, is what the Davis family said. So we welcome Eno Benjamin at wide receiver. We got CeeDee Lamb coming in at tight end. We welcome Manhurts and Jacob Breland. On the offensive side, John Runyon is coming in. Matt Hennessy, 7th round pick at a Temple. We have on the defensive side, Akwara trying to compete there for a defensive end gig In the inside, we got Poona Ford, Neville Gallimore. Both those guys coming in, and we're definitely probably going to try to push Gallimore just a little bit if I have to be a little biased. The linebacking core, Darren Lee was probably our big free agency signing, 77 star dev linebacker. Hopefully he can be a tackle machine for us. First round pick, CJ Henderson out of Florida. Expecting big things from him. And I think that is it. That is all of our brand new players. So hopefully I made a good decision. Hopefully, because it wasn't live, I couldn't use you guys' feedback. Then again, we did a live offseason last year with the Huskies, and you guys told me to trade all my players to get Tua Tagovailoa, so that was ridiculous. So it was good that it was a little bit low-key this time around. Like I said, I will try next offseason. We'll have a draft, and the free agency and all that stuff will be live on a Twitch stream. So maybe hold me to that. But I hope you guys did enjoy this. Hope I didn't make too many bad decisions, and I hope you guys are excited for year 2 of the Raiders franchise to kick off here early next week. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. You guys have been killing it with the likes. We're getting like 1,300 minimum on every video. It is very much helping me out. So keep on keeping on with that. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.
Money I'm spending, I'm out and I'm shopping. You talking that shit, well you talking the talking. Look at my options, look at me dropping. Ass in the game, like who are you stopping? Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. I'm way too clever. Look at the kid, Mr. Consistent, I'm doing it.